What's up, guys? Ian here, coach of your Ladner Lanturn, bringing you guys our team builder for week 4 of NCL's of Strika, season 7, taking on Stu and the Toronto Trevenants. His team consists of Tapu Koko, Skarmory, Seismitoad, Salazzle, Cofagrigus, Claydol, Mega Heracross, Hydreigon, Slurpuff, Regirock, and Dodrio. His priority options are exclusively Salazzle with Fake Out. Hazard setting is Skarmory with Rocks and Spikes, Seismitoad with Rocks, Cofagrigus with Toxic Spikes, Claydol with Rocks, Slurpuff with Webs, and Regirock with Rocks. Removal options, he's got the Koko with Defog, Skarmory with Defog, Claydol with Rapid Spin, and Hydreigon with Defog. And 4 times weaknesses is Seismitoad to Grass, Salazzle to Ground, Mega Heracross to Flying, and Hydreigon to Fairy. I should have all of those covered, I believe, which is one of the steps that I was trying to hit more when I was having a lot of success in Gen 7, so kind of trying to go a little bit more back to basics and taking a little bit more time building. In terms of what I'm expecting on his team, I'm not really anticipating Claydol, Slurpuff, or Regirock to come. I don't think Slurpuff ever has a chance to get up a Belly Drum against me, and I don't think he might bring it for Webs, but I do have a Cinderace, so it would be very strange to me that he would want to bring Webs against the Cinderace team. But he could opt into bringing Webs. I'm not sure. I should be able to remove them pretty easily, but that's kind of why I don't think Slurpuff's going to come. Regirock, I just don't think that he's going to have the slots to fit Regirock. Like, Regirock's not that bad against me, but I just, yeah, I can't really anticipate it being that good of a bring here. And Claydol, I mean, he could obviously bring Claydol if he wants. Pardon me, classic game video. Okay, Claydol. Why do I not think Claydol's coming? I have a Darkrai. That's pretty much why I don't think Claydol's coming. I actually have a lot of stuff that abuses Claydol. The only real reason I could see it coming is if he wanted like a backup answer to Dracozolt or something like that. Or as a spinner, or maybe it's his Gliscor check or something along those lines. I'm not running U-turn on Gliscor because I'm running Taunt instead to shut down Skarm, so it's a little bit funky on that one. And then pretty much everything else can come. I'm definitely expecting Koko, Skarmory, Seismitoad, and Mega Heracross, and Hydreigon. I think those 5 are 100% coming, and then it's between like Salazzle and Cofagrigus. I personally would probably anticipate the Cofagrigus, sorry, because it's his best Cinderace check. But besides that, I think Dodrio has a small chance of coming, just because Scarf Dodrio is a really effective breaker against my team, and there's not really much I can do against it, so excuse me, I'm hoping not to see it, is basically where I'm at with that. Okay, on my team, I finally have the Gliscor EVs right. First up is Gliscor. This is optimal Toxic Orb EVing. I've been going one lower, usually, and thinking that that was optimal, but I just can't do math right. So this is optimal Gliscor EVing for HP, I guess, based on what the calc says at least. I'm running a tiny bit of speed here to outspeed most Skarmory variants so that I can taunt it before it can get up rocks on lead. Only thing that I would swap out on lead against is like Seismitoad, scared of a knockoff, because I think that that would be something he would go for. Toxic Orb is really important for me to have this game, like really, really, really important because it's so much recovery, and this is my main answer to Koko and Mega Heracross, so I need it to be healthy. I actually live a +6 Slurpuff Belly Drum, +6 Adamant Slurpuff Belly Drum. Player off, I mean, not Belly Drum. Oh my god, after a Belly Drum. Player off after a Belly Drum, because Slurpuff's really weak. But Earthquake doesn't do nearly enough back, so I'm hoping that in that case, the Slurpuff would also be slower than me, because it's going to want to run Unburden. And I'm actually close. I'm reasonably close enough to a max speed Adamant Slurpuff that I think that I could probably hit that mark and be able to taunt it out of a Belly Drum in the first place. I'm not sure that Slurpuff would want to set up against Gliscor, but it's probably one of the better options for him to set up against. I don't really think that Slurpuff has an opportunity to set up against anything else on my team, so this would be the one thing that it could set up on. Taunt really is there, though, to shut down the Skarmory, and potentially Cofagrigus from Pain Splitting, things of that nature. Doesn't really shut down Claydol at all. Excuse me. Earthquake is obviously there to threaten out the Koko and the Salazzle. It's just base neutral damage, better against everything else. I don't really stay in against Skarmory, if I'm being completely honest. I could probably just like Roostall it out, but I guess I could and just like tank the Brave Birds and sit there and Aerial Ace it or something. Aerial Ace is really there for the Mega Heracross. I should be able to outspeed most Mega Heracross variants as well. Although it depends on how much speed he wants to run. So he could speed time my Dracozolt, which is the same speed as him, and then I won't outrun it. And I might be in danger of like a Swords Dance Rock Blast, which would really suck if it's sub SD Rock Blast Pin Missile. Yikes. But in that case, at the very least, Empoleon can tank a hit. So I do think it's going to have close combat or Bullet Seed at the very least. So that's kind of the idea behind Gliscor. It's just the physical wall this week to take on Koko, and Heracross is a really good Koko check. Even if it's special, I can tank hits from Koko unless it's Calm Mind boosting. But in that case, I've got Golurk, which is another secondary check to Koko. Doesn't check Heracross nearly as well, but if the Heracross is running without Bullet Seed, then Golurk will check it. So that's at least a plus there. It's my rocker this week because I couldn't fit it on Gliscor. I just didn't have the move slots to put rocks. If anything was going over taunt, it was going to be U-turn. So rocks are on the Golurk. Poltergeist, Drain Punch, and Heat Crash. I don't want to be Iron Fist, actually. I want to be No Guard so that I don't miss Poltergeist. Iron Fist doesn't really help me here because Drain Punch is really only there for the High Dragon. And Poltergeist just obliterates this entire team. There's no... the normal type is Dodrio, so I basically just get to click Poltergeist and claim a Mon. It's not that simple because it's not going to actually kill anything right off the bat, but it's a strong enough attack that it'll be deadly. Heat Crash is there for the Skarmory. I'm not outspeeding the Skarmory because I didn't want to dump any investment into speed to try and do that, but I am physically defensive, like I said. I probably should have been Colbur here, but again, this is another Koko check, which just goes absolutely haywire against my team, so that's what Golurk is there for. Empoleon is specially defensive with a Shukaberry. My idea behind the Shukaberry is that I can tank a hit from Seismitoad and then Grass on it back, but I also tank like Earth Power from Hydreigon and I can Ice Beam it. It's not going to do that much damage back, but it's worthwhile enough that I figured Shuka was worth it. I don't think that Slurpuff is a big enough threat for me to warrant Chople here, so I'm not going with that. It's my defogger this week to get rid of spikes or toxic spikes or webs, whatever. Ice Beam, Grass, Flash Cannon. Which, actually, I need Scald on here. Because I'm mono-walled by Salazzle, and this is supposed to be my Salazzle check, and I think Salazzle's a lot more likely to come against me than the Slurpuff, so I'm actually going to swap Flash Cannon back to Scald. It was originally Scald, and then I swapped it to Flash Cannon after Hamu suggested Flash Cannon for Slurpuff, but I really need a Salazzle answer, and I don't have another Salazzle answer on the team, so I'll have to do. I'm outspeeding No Speed Heracross, which I don't know why that's important. I guess I figured if he was No Speed Heracross, just running like max bulk, max attack or something, then I could get a Scald burn off. I don't know. I am especially defensive for the Salazzle. I mean, it's probably going to Toxic me anyways, but that is the idea behind the Empoleon. Vikavolt is really offensive this week with Boots, Thunderbolt, Energy Ball, Bug Buzz, and Roost. I'm just going like full attacking. Hamu suggested Rising Voltage, which only works against grounded targets, so it doesn't really help me break Skarmory any better. It does slightly more damage to Koko, but it's not doing like any more damage to most of the team. So it's not really worth the base power difference when I'm not in terrain to me. I think Thunderbolt's just a lot more consistent in taking down things like Salazzle if I have to. Salazzle shouldn't be able to one-shot me with Flamethrower, but it might be able to with Fire Blast. Energy Ball is there exclusively for the Seismitoad, and then Bug Buzz hits like High Dragon, and it'll hit the Claydol better. It'll also go through Sub, which won't really matter against Heracross, because I'm going to have to click T-Bolt and hope that I live a Rock Blast or something anyways, but Modest max special attack, max HP, you know, just a basic, especially offensive Vikavolt here. I wanted Volt Switch, but I need the Roost, so yeah, this is potentially my Coffee Regis check. And also, if he brings Trick Room against me, then this is potentially a good Trick Room answer. Cinderace, I'm bringing Boots Cinderace as well with Pyro Ball, U-Turn, Bulk Up, and Low Kick. Yeah, the idea behind this is basically just to pivot on a bunch of stuff. It's another way to beat Skarmory, in theory. I walled by Salazzle again with another Mon. Cinderace doesn't really get anything to hit Salazzle besides like Zen Headbutt, and it's not really worthwhile to bring against anything else because I have Pyro Ball. So yeah, like if I could have abused Zen Headbutt for Salazzle and Heracross or something like that, then maybe it would be worth it. But Pyro Ball just hits like everything on this team besides Seismitoad, which I honestly just U-turn out on. And then Low Kick should be able to handle Hydreigon. It does a little bit more damage to Hydreigon, and it does more damage to Regirock. It's 100 base power on Hydreigon and 120 on Regirock, and I can't miss like High Jump Kick, so it's a bit less punishing. Bulk Up means that I might be able to break through Salazzle actually with Pyro Ball, but it might just one-shot me back as well. Yeah, it's kind of just the idea behind Cinderace. Like, it's physically offensive Mon. I only really had like Golurk besides that, so I think Cinderace looks pretty decent here if I can pivot in and out with it. I'm running out of speed for Salazzle, so I can still have speed at the very least, and max attack, a little bit of HP. And last but not least is Darkrai. I'm running a Life Orb Darkrai with Dark Pulse, Spatial Rend, Sludge Bomb, and Psychic, so just 4 attacks. You can try and click buttons and pick off some Mons. Dark Pulse is there for a lot of things, but Coffee Regis and Claydol in particular, everything else doesn't really want to tank a Dark Pulse. Even the Resists don't really want to tank Dark Pulse from Darkrai, so that's fine by me. Spatial Rend is there for the Hydreigon. It's only there for the Hydreigon. I have to make sure the Hydreigon is not Scarfed, but if it is not Scarfed, then I have Spatial Rend for that. Rather than Ice Beam, Spatial Rend does more damage. It has a chance to miss, and it'll also catch like anything that would want to actually tank Ice Beam, which is legitimately nothing. So maybe that's something I should have considered, is that there's actually 0 ice resist on this entire team. Man, Regice actually would have looked good if it wasn't so slow. So I think I actually will switch back to Ice Beam over Spatial Rend, just because there's no switch-ins to it at all. It's not going to Oko Hydra, but I don't think Spatial Rend would have either. Which means I can be shiny now, which is what it's meant to be. So Sludge Bomb is there for the Slurpuff and the Koko, and then Psychic is there for Salazzle. No, it's there for Heracross. That's what Psychic is there for, is for Mega Heracross. And a speed for Salazzle again, max special attack, a little bit of HP. In terms of what I'm not bringing, Chestnut looks pretty awful. It's like kind of a Mega Heracross check, but then it just pin missiles me. It doesn't check Koko, doesn't check Salazzle, doesn't check Hydra, doesn't check Slurpuff. So, like the only thing it can handle is Seismitoad, which is not really the biggest threat in the world. Mega Gardevoir I would have liked to bring, but I don't really think I had the slots for it, and it kind of gets picked on a little bit by Koko and Salazzle too much. Excuse me, for my liking. Dracozolt I was considering, because it breaks the team really effectively, but I'm opting into Golurk instead. Venomoth, I tried forcing Venomoth onto the team, but it's another matchup where they have a really common Scarfer like right above it in the speed tiers that I'd need 2 Quiver Dances for. Normally that wouldn't be a problem, but I can't really set up on anything here. There's a lot that I just can't set up on with Venomoth, so especially things like Whirlwind Skarmory, which I would imagine come for Venomoth, but who knows. And then Regice, which Salazzle is actually an Ice Resist. Now that I'm thinking about it, Salazzle's the Ice Resist, but Regice could have come, and I opted not to bring it for reasons, especially defensively wise. Empoleon just feels a little bit better of a role here, being immune to the Sludge Wave from Salazzle, and not weak to the fire moves. So that is what I'm doing there. Next week I made transactions, so keep an eye out for the Team Builder next week as well, where I'll go over the transactions and what I made. And hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys for the match against Stu and the Toronto Trevenants.